Good morning, all. Sorry I haven't done a video in a couple of days. This weekend was very, very emotional for me. And I like to be transparent. And so normally I would get on and speak of what's going on, but I was too emotional. So it would have been more crying than talking. So my wife and I were not on a good path this weekend. It was really terrible. There was a lot of jealousy, a lot of non-communication. It was just a whole lot. And it was really saddening for both of us. It was eye-opening in the end, but in the beginning, it was terrible. So we both have friends outside of our marriage that are females, and both of us are a slight bit jealous and don't want to admit it. So I'm admitting it to the world because I like my wife Tom. When we started out, if you seen her, you seen me. If you seen me, you seen her. We were always a pack. We are best friends, not we're like best friends. But you know, best friends are inseparable. And so we need space from one another. She recognized that first before I did. And it hurt my feelings. Because I never did anything without her, period. I'm already a house potato. So home, cooking, spending time with my family, those are the things that I love to do the most. And that's her as well, but you can't lose yourself. And we've had a lot of things go on within our relationship and our marriage that sort of helped us lose ourselves, period. And so I usually cook every day. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I usually cook every day, make sure her lunch is packed. I really have my wife and my children spoiled. And sometimes I believe that that's where their behavior just, oh my goodness, because all of them are entitled. I made them feel like these are the things that I have to do every day, all day. And so with my feelings being involved, I don't cook like I used to. I don't make sure she has lunch. Like the things that she loves about me, I took from her. The things that I love about her, she took from me. Our communication, calling me on her breaks, and we're talking about any and everything. Yeah, so our world shifted, and neither one of us knew how to deal with it on a mental basis. Neither one of us knew how to express it vocally without being angry and saying hurtful things. And so I keep telling y'all, like, I have this really good friend that I met, and she helps me understand my wife, bleezy blah. And she does a lot. She really does. And I'm grateful to her for that. But in the midst of all of that, my wife is jealous or intimidated by her, and she does not want to admit that. And it's okay. But like I tell her, I love you. I don't want anyone but you. She's a friend. Now, when she was telling me these same words a year ago, now this person is both of our mutual friend. Love her to pieces. God blessed both of them to be in our lives. They're closer than we are. And I was jealous of that. They were going out to eat. They were doing this. They were doing that. And see, for me, it was like, oh, red flag. She's not doing any of this with you. Here's another female. So a seed was dropped into my spirit about that. I just didn't automatically think that. a seed was dropped into my spirit. And so my emotions began to shift and change. And I was not the nicest person in the world. Like, everything about me that she loved, I slowly started taking away from her, because I'm screaming out for this attention. I'm telling you, you're not giving it to me, and you're not understanding me. You're not hearing me. You're not listening to me. But in reality, she couldn't, because of the way that I was saying it. I wasn't speaking calmly like I'm talking to you all. It was more of a yell, a lot of arguing. It just put us in a really bad space. And so now I have my friend. Like I said, I work for myself pretty much. I was doing my job and I came across this person. Their spirit was excellent. And we just vibed, we clicked. And so I was so excited to tell my wife, but then she began to feel the emotions that I felt. And instead of speaking on them, she was holding them in and trying to act as if she understood and she was the bigger person. But emotionally, it was bothering her. And, you know, some of our personal conversations that we've had, she began to say to me, like, if you're going to leave me, don't wait for a year to do it. And it really bothered me. That offended me. And I'm like, leave you? So she felt like I was connecting to this person on a different level, because when I checked out from my last marriage, I stayed there for a year and I was totally checked out. Didn't want to be in my relationship anymore. And so I confided that in her. And so I meet somebody. She know I really don't do a lot of people besides family. You have to be really special in my life for me to even communicate with you. And so that began to have her harbor feelings. Financially, we could do better. And that's another issue. But just the miscommunicating and learning how to pull together, a lot of things was said and done. And, you know, at first I'm feeling good and I'm smiling and I'm like, yeah, now the tables have turned. The shoe is on the other foot. How do you like this? So was it tit for tat? Was I being funny? That's a great question. And it wasn't. It didn't start out like that. But I wanted her to feel what I felt. And that was wrong on so many different levels. Just because I felt some type of way, I should have reassured my wife, even when I wanted her to reassure me and she didn't. So what I'm saying is, right is right and wrong is wrong. There is no right or wrong in a relationship. Again, it's what you do to fix the problem. So once I fixed the problem with our friend, accepting and respecting that they were closer than I, but we were all friends, that should have never been a thing, so to speak. I should have never felt satisfaction, maybe, when she was feeling insecure about my friendship. Instead, I should have been loving, warming, reassuring, like I wanted her to be to me. And I did not do that. So in the midst of us arguing, my wife told me we were toxic together. That hurt on a whole different level. It broke me a lot. It broke me. She was in her feelings, and she was expressing herself. And so for the first time, I shut up. I was lost for words, and I just allowed her to say everything that she wanted to say. And I took it in. I didn't say anything. I was truly hurt, but I'm trying to absorb her hurt as well. And so we go to bed, and the next day I leave to go to work, and I'm just thinking about everything, and I'm so full, and I want to call my cousin and just cry, but I don't want to impose that negative energy on her or that hurtful energy, because it was not negative. And so after I got myself together just a little bit, I did call. And I was so upset, but she was right there for me. And then she was the one that made me realize you have her entitled to these things. You always ask her, how is your day going? Bae, how is your foot feeling? How is your toe healing? All of those things to that nature. Honey, what are you taking for lunch today? I get up and wash the clothes. Like, I do my wifely duties. Like I expect for her to do her wifely duties. And so in the midst of the miscommunication and being mad at one another, we started pulling back and stopped doing the things that we knew one another liked. And that didn't work. It doesn't work. It changes and shifts who you are as a person. And this comes back to being the bigger person. And so as I'm writing and I'm thinking, I don't text her with a text message, because that can be misconstrued. How I text it and how my emotions come across is not how she's going to take it when reading my text. So I sent her a voice message text, and she could hear the hurt and the sincerity in my message. She could hear me as I'm speaking. And so she texts back and she said, I love you. I love you so much. I just want my wife back. I just want my wife back. And then her next question to me was, what do you want from me? I just want my wife back. I want the laughter, the love, the communication. I want our fun times back while we're both having a life and respecting one another. I want the intimacy. People think intimacy is always about sex, but it's not. It's that connection. It's that feel. I want to feel her in my soul again. I want to look her in her eyes and feel that love, warming feeling that I've always felt. I want to feel her touch when we're laying in the bed. Now, we touch feet every night, but we've always held one another. Oh, bae, it's time to roll, so it's my time to hold. Or, bae, I gotta roll, so it's her time to roll. These are the things that connected us, or the laughing, or the talking. I've always been an open, honest, and upfront person. Now, when I'm not in my feelings, I can deliver it very well. When I'm in my feelings, I can deliver it like a bitch. And so sometimes we have to stop when we're very emotional. Stop. Because it makes a situation worse. Don't speak. Get your feelings together so that you can be heard. Because anyone can scream out what they're feeling. It's stopping and listening and speaking truthfully in a calm manner. It's looking someone eye to eye, or if you don't want to do it eye to eye, speak a voice message so that they hear the sincerity in your voice. By all means, don't text, because that builds up another kind of hurt. Because what you're trying to say and what you're trying to express is not coming out like that to that person. They're reading it and they're taking it in the way that they're reading it. And so last night I was like, I've asked her before, do you want to come ride with me, work with me? No, I don't feel like it, or da 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 da. And so last night I asked, and she rode with me, and we laughed, we talked, we held hands like we used to. It was just a beautiful thing. When you love someone, there is no right or wrong way to do anything. It's fixing the situation. Yes. Do you get tired of being a bigger person? Absolutely. But is your love worth it? Is your love worth being the bigger person? Is the question that you have to ask yourself. Are you connecting to their love language? That's another question. The love language. When looking at a relationship, y'all have to respect each other's love language. That came from our counseling sessions. They made us do the love test. Perfect. Wonderful. As I'm saying that, I think I'm going to do it again to see if our love language changed a little bit, to see where we can meet one another. But one of the most important things is I definitely know we need to communicate better. When I'm depressed, I like to spend money. When I'm sad and in my feelings. And yeah, I have to work on that. So I've also done things to fix that as well. Because you can always point out your mate flaws. But what are you doing to fix yourself? You hear not one time have I said any of the flaws that I feel like my wife or myself have. I'm telling you now, me, but I'm not going to tell you hers. So one of mine is that I spend money. So this morning I got up, thank you Jesus, or whoever you believe in, and I started making preparations to fix things. So I pray that I do well, and my communication is going to be one of the things that I do. And I'm also going to make myself a vision board for myself, me and my wife, me and my children, and then me, my wife, and my children. Or if I'm saying it correctly, my wife, myself, my children / our children. I love you all. I hope you're having a great day. If you like my video, please like, share, and subscribe. And just remember, every relationship is fixable if you put in the work.